CBS Sports has a list, the NFL's all-quarter century offensive team. And if you look at the Saints, like, your options there are probably Drew Brees and Jari Evans are probably your two guys that have a chance to make it. And Drew Brees did not, as you would imagine. Tom Brady was the starter at quarterback. I'm not here to argue that. Peyton Manning was the reserve. I'm not here to argue that. Patrick Mahomes, reserve. I'm not really here to argue that either. Brees and Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger got honorable mention. And it made me think, like, I'm not here to argue Brees' case against Peyton Manning or Patrick Mahomes. But I am here to suggest that, like, if a couple things break differently that are so obvious, like, is this discussion different? Because, like, can you point to a massive controversial loss in the playoffs for Peyton Manning or for Aaron Rodgers? Like, I struggle to. I can't really, even with Mahomes. And for Brees to have the Nola no call like you did, and to have the ridiculous play in Minnesota like you did. And if those two change and he's got 2 Super Bowls, plays in 3, like, he dwarfs some of these other guys. Like, he's not even in the discussion with Aaron Rodgers if he does that. I feel like we just kind of default to, well, Manning, Brady, and Mahomes, like, Super Bowls, they just got it done. But, like, Brees led the NFL in passing yards 7 times. Completions 6 times, touchdowns 4 times, 2 times Offensive Player of the Year. He was an All-Pro. He never won an MVP, and that's disappointing. But I feel like his legacy is cemented as the greatest player in Saints history and an all-time great quarterback, yes. But it changes so drastically if things out of his control don't happen. And that's a difficult one to swallow as you look back. Like, still, as Saints supporters, like, you understand it was a golden era, and you look back on it so fondly now, certainly knowing what preceded it and what has followed it, it even elevates Brees to another level here in New Orleans. But I feel like when people pull up Drew Brees' Pro Football Reference page and just look at the numbers, you'll see how great some things are, but you won't see the Nola no call there. You won't see the Minneapolis Miracle or whatever we're calling that. And those are out of his control. I mean, I could even go to, beast mode, or could go to what happened with Vernon Davis in San Francisco that weren't really in his control in those games. All of those plays are made while the other team has the football. And so I wonder if Brees had gotten and won 2 Super Bowls, maybe even won 3 Super Bowls, and you put his numbers up against Mahomes, who statistically doesn't necessarily throw for as many yards or completions as everybody. They just win a lot. He throws for a ton of yards. He's great. He's an all-time great. But that's really built on the postseason success that he's had. And Brees' failures in the postseason weren't really his fault. And I think that when you go look at all quarter century teams like this, and you look at Brees' legacy, which he will ultimately be compared to Rodgers and Roethlisberger and Rivers and Manning, Eli Manning, and those of his time, and will be dwarfed by Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and now Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if it's really his fault that that's happened. And we knew that at the time, but it just is exacerbated when you look back at things like this. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's in the top 3 all-time in yards, touchdowns, and completion percentage. And he's second behind Brady in yards, completions, and touchdowns. I think he's hurt by not having an MVP. Okay. And he's hurt worse, in my opinion, by the fact that those postseason games ended as bitterly as they did. And that's why he's not put on these teams more regularly. Those of us that sat there and watched him, man, was it a treat. And it's different for me, because for those of you that are diehard fans, like, you got to watch him do it for your team. For me, it was great. I went to the Dome. I probably saw Brees play in person 7 times. And just to go and watch him perform surgery on a defense was such a treat. And I think he may be a little bit underappreciated because of what happened in those fateful Januaries. Not by Saints fans, by those on the outside. But still, first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great statistically, and the greatest player in the history of a franchise, which certainly means a lot. So I know Drew Brees means a lot to the folks down here in South Louisiana, and they're longing for the next one to come around. Come on, Tyler Shook. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.